other people are gonna try to dictate your value based off of their toxic standards, right? They won't do their part. They won't be honest. They won't be upfront. But when it comes to you being like advocating for yourself, nah, you're wrong. Sometimes, I believe that with certain people, I shouldn't have to advocate for myself. I shouldn't have to advocate for myself to certain people who know that I have always honored social contract, honored our relationships, honored our friendships. Always been there, support. Always been a shoulder, an arm, a drink away. Back in the day. If I have to advocate for myself for you, then if I have to advocate for myself to you, at a certain point, I'm good on you. I'm good. Who has time for that, right? Like it's like starting a relationship all over again, right? When you start a new relationship, when I say relationship, I kind of mean all dynamics, unless I specifically say romantic. When you start a new relationship, right? You're testing the waters. One of my best friends today, man. We working at the NBA store. Actually, I shot him out. Lex Anderson, number one People sportscaster. We were working at the NBA store. I'm like, yo, you wanna get a drink after work? He's like, I don't know, it's raining. And I'm like, yo, yes or no, man? Like, don't hit me with the maybe. Just either you do or you don't. Like, either way, I'm cool. It's all good. And he was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, you're right, yeah. We know who each other are. Like, from that moment, we understood each other, man. Like, I'm not a back and forth, yes, no, maybe wishy-washy person. Like, either it's gonna happen or it's not. That's how we build our bond and friendship. I don't have to advocate for myself to him because the years of friendship have allowed us to understand each other, man. Allowed us to understand each other, and granted, we go through our own personal growth as individuals. When we come back and connect and talk, right? We bring up the past, but we also add new perspectives on life. Oh, man, this is peaceful. So imagine after 10 years of friendship, having to start all over again, right? So it'll be like, yo, it's me, man. It's me, Clifford. You remember all that? And then be like, nah, that's old news, right? And granted, sometimes it is old news, man. Sometimes the old energy is outdated and it's not relevant anymore. But for me, my perspective is that when keeping bonds and building bonds, it has to be mutual growth. If I'm growing and you're not, then we're not in the same mindset anymore. Like, he's been content creating for a minute. He's been doing work for a minute. And, periodically we get on the phone, man, and I just send him love. It's like, yo, you doing your thing, man. You're doing your thing. And he's been part of my inspiration and putting more content out there. So now it feels good to kind of reciprocate that. Like, now we can talk about TikTok and we talk about content and how to kind of balance the playing field. We share ideas with each other. That's growth. That's reciprocity, right? We've known each other for all these years. Why keep talking about the same things from back in the day? Like, nah, what's going on now? How do you become better? How do I become better? How do we support each other? That's what bond should be. Sometimes we get so disconnected from our own reality and the reality of other people that we fall back to the great memory or toxic ego. And we know that those are very limiting, because they're only rooted in self and they don't offer anyone any other value. The only value you're offering is yourself, right? You have to start, you don't have to. My philosophy is all things self. Part of my philosophy is all things self, all things community. So I believe in, I look crazy, man. Part of my philosophy is all things self, all things community. I believe in starting with the individual and from there blossoming, knowing that I feel good, I feel healthy, I feel confident in myself. Now I can go be part of community, contribute and support in a healthy way. Because if I'm not healthy, then I'm just going to go into the community and cause chaos. I don't want that. No one needs to suffer for my flaws. And that's the process of growth and self-awareness. Eventually, right, once you start seeing your value, you're more inclined to focus on the ways your value, your own independent value, adds value to the lives of other people. And and hopefully you stop committing to acts that take value away from other people. Right? If I'm propping up my own value but taking away from you, how does that benefit the collective experience? Remember, there's enough for everyone to eat, right? The mindset is it has to be me. I have to be the person to do it. There's no one else. It's me. That's the narcissistic aspects we see in leaders, right? People thinking that they're the ones. People who say, I'm doing it for the people. I'll sacrifice anything for the people. The minute they get on that stage, they put some money in their pocket. Or they say, you don't understand, we're working behind the scenes. Be wary, man. Be wary of, be wary of false prophets, right? Sometimes the false prophet is just the individual relationship you have with someone, prophesizing that they're here to support you, here to ride out with you, here to propel you, here to feed you, right? And that's the game. That's the ever-present game. Thinking that other people are going to feed us, other people are going to take care of us, other people are going to look out for us. No. If you aren't feeding yourself, right? If you aren't actively working to feed yourself, what are you left eating? Scraps, right? That's the wealth gap. Those are the billionaires while, we're here living off of subscription services from other people, right? Like, does Elon Musk subscribe to OnlyFans? Does Jeff Bezos subscribe to OnlyFans? Are the billionaires giving people free money for entertainment on a monthly basis? I talked about OnlyFans, I think in a podcast episode, and I get it, man. I get it, but it's sad to see people selling themselves and their content for $5.99 a month. That's sad, man. And I get on the other side, right? Like, you can go anywhere and get porn for free. I get that. But as, I'm going back to the idea of content versus art. And maybe that's just what it is, right? Content and just consumable. So here's me having sex for 99 cents a month. Again, it's not judging, just mulling the idea over, man. And thinking that people should, knowing that there's more value out there outside of these subscriptions that we ask other people to pay who are barely making it themselves, man. We shouldn't be asking other people who are just getting by to support us. The money should be draining from the top. But now we're just taking money from the next man. Inhibiting and limiting their potential to have value. Right? And I understand it's a choice and people choose to subscribe to monthly services. And I'm not only just talking about OnlyFans, I'm talking about all of it. I mean, even look at Spotify, right? Now, I mean, I definitely feel hypocritical paying, I think I pay $14.99 or $15.99 because I have a family plan. Let's go through all this music and take away from artists, telling them that they don't have value. Or telling Jay-Z that his content has equal value as an upcoming artist, that it's all under the same umbrella. That's not what it should be. But we see that the most successful artists nowadays, right? I talked about a lot of artists that broke, but not anymore because they're investing into different things, right? They see that music has lost so much of its value because of consumerism, I guess. Napster, Morpheus, LimeWire. We all thieves. I did it back in the day, right? In retrospect, I feel guilty, and I'm trying to find a more realistic way to make amends for my thievery. I wrote a fan letter to one of my top 5 favorite artists, Josh Riles. I talked about him last year after meeting him for the first time. I wrote an email like, yo, I thought you were big time, because he had a song in Eat, Pray, Love. So I'm like, hey, he's not gonna mind if I download his songs illegally. He never replied, which I know, which I get. But like that same day after sending that email, I went to the Bandcamp website and I just bought every album I could, every vinyl, every CD I could, just to kind of make amends for the thievery back in the day. That's all we could do sometimes. All you can do is sometimes you just make amends how you can in the present. Again, the self-awareness, the self-reflection, and honoring, like, you know what, I feel bad about this. How can I make it right? And that was my solution. His music has value to me. I go to the concerts, I show support. That's how I got to meet him, and for me, everything's an awkward interaction, but I let him know that, yo, your music has value to me, man. Huge fan. Decide your value. Don't let other people tell you otherwise. Don't let people who, again, don't honor their own social contracts tell you that you don't have value. Find other people who honor the same values you have, right? Because values are all social contracts. We have different social contracts. We have different values. So find the people who align with your values, people with the same work ethos as you. I talked about the work that we do, right? When you work for a business, when you read their mission or their ethos, you should feel inspired. You should be like, yo, I vibe with that. At some point, right, when we're teens and in our 20s, you work just for the check. There's nothing wrong with that. But as you get older, the companies you align with need to honor your own social and independent values, right? Because it gives you purpose. If I'm just here to get a check, that's not a purpose. I'm here to get a check and then look forward to my 2 weeks of vacation. There's no value in that. There's no value in that. As a creator, as a content creator, balance your professional work with your creative work. Find the right people who value you, value your opinion, value your insight, who believe in you, believe in your capabilities, believe in your growth, believe in your skill. And that's it. Peace. Hope you have a good week.